Hello everyone, let's start our today's discussion. So the pre-seen information for March 2026 exam attempt have been released, and now the most important sessions are starting for the students who are giving exam in March 26 exam attempt. Because you all know that this pre-seen information is like your paper has been out, you are provided with the background information about the case study, which will then be continued in your actual examination. This pre-scene is about magazine publishing industry, a very interesting industry for those who are connected with magazines in either form, in printed form or in digital form. For them, it's a very interesting industry. In this pre-scene analysis, me and Sir Subhan, we will be doing a great detailed discussion in which we'll be reading this entire document, discussing the points, and a lot of practical examples will come in. And along with that, there will be 3 predictive mock exams, which are our professional guesses that how the examiner can develop a question based on this pre-seen information. And not just those mock exams, we will be discussing 2 of the mock exams in the class. We'll actually solve those exams like you will be dealing with them in your actual examination. And then 3rd mock exam will be your self-attempt mock exam, which you guys will attempt on your own and send us for marking and feedback, and we will be giving you an exam style feedback. So pre-seen information for March 2026 exam attempt, those who are giving an exam in March 26, this is the most important and detailed series of session which is starting for you guys next 10 hours. Our today's class is the first discussion session. We'll have 3 classes on pre-seen and then 3 classes each on each of the mock exam. Okay, so let's look into this pre-seen information in detail. Now, you guys have seen these pre-seen information earlier also, that a typical pre-seen has 2 portions. Number 1 portion is about the industry background, which is about the magazine industry. The examiner introduces you to the industry like you are very much new, you don't know about the magazines. He will introduce you with the print-based magazine, digital magazine, how the industry goes on, what staff are involved, what are the risks of the industry, and all of the detail regarding to the industry. And then there will be detailed discussion about the company background. You all know that SBL exam is like a real life case study. It's a real life project. In the examination, he will make you a business consultant, a business advisor. So before going for a meeting with the consultant, like just think that examination 3 hours and 15 minutes, that is the time which is your paid time, and you are sitting in a meeting with the consultant. So before going for that actual meeting, you have sent all the information to the consultant about the background of the industry and about the background of your company, so that when you sit in that actual meeting, the consultant has that mindset. He knows that, okay, who are your big competitors, in what industry you are operating, what are the past financial data and everything. So just think that in the examination, you would be a consultant. You have this entire pre-seen background information, same industry, same client. 4 more pages will be introduced in the examination, 4 business issues. And those 4 business issues, what will be those business issues? No one knows that, but they will be a continuation of this pre-seen. So when we will be reading this pre-seen, we will be doing professional guesses. Like maybe the examiner will raise a point here, he will raise a point here, he will raise a... So we'll make a list of that. And then in the predictive mock exam, we will be covering that. So very detailed discussion. Now what you have to do for this pre-seen, in every class, we'll cover around 3 pages. So you have to read them thoroughly. You have to listen to our practical examples in a really important manner. It's not about learning this pre-seen. It is about making yourself familiar with this industry so that you can advise the client. You can predict the practical life situations relating to this industry. Okay?
Hi. Okay. Hi, good morning from Texas. So as Sir said that, you have to go through this pre-seen as many times you can, and so that you familiarize. Because in the examination, you will have this pre-seen available. It's not about only 15 days before the examination, you have this document, and once you are in the examination, this document will be eliminated. No, you will have that particular button which says, okay, just click and you have this pre-seen. But now when you have 15 days, you can go through this pre-seen thing. You understand the the characters, let's say Mr. X, Mr. Y, whoever the CEO, chairman, the competitors, the risk, and all that. So that in the examination, you will be more, I would say, more efficient. Otherwise, the document will be available, and if you're reading in the examination also, you will be inefficient because in examination you have limited time. So what you have to do right now is, after every class, you try to, not memorize, but try to understand the story. Okay, sir. And
And
this
see,
magazine industry, this is kind of very interesting. Let me show you these magazines. Still read these magazines. See this Harvard Business Review. Look at this. Okay, so. There you go. So this magazine industry is it's there are different types of magazine actually. Like my interest is more in economics and business and all that, but my family is more interested in lifestyle, maybe food, sports. I have these magazines of Harley Davidson and all that. Especially in US, when we talk about magazines and publication, this industry, no matter you call it a very old school industry, like fax and railway and postal and publication, but in US is still, is still going on. And every time when we go to our mailbox, I'm not talking about my email, we go to a mailbox, you come across a lot of magazines for information purpose, for sports purpose, for advertisement purpose, for marketing purpose. Nowadays, the magazines are for decoration purpose also. When you go to a coffee shop, or maybe or even in your home, when you have the coffee table and all that, people use it for the decoration purpose. Like you've seen those booklets, LV, Gucci, Dolce and Gabbana, cigar books, wine books, and all that. So this magazine, not only for information purpose, for marketing purpose, for decoration purpose, it's a huge industry. And not only this, as sir said, it's about this, physical stuff, but also the digital stuff. The digital nowadays, like when I was in Pakistan, I used to be the subscriber of this Harvard Business Review. So what they used to do, like sending physical magazine to one of my friends who's in Canada, and then I used to read with that, what do you call, the digital copy, the online copy, and all that. Sir.
and now, when we talk about these digital magazines, they have evolved so much. Like, if you are a subscriber of any digital magazine, it is not just the articles and photos, there are complete podcasts, there are videos in these magazines. So, this industry is completely evolving, and how it used to be like 2 or 3 decades ago, now it has evolved a lot. Like, digital magazines are in themselves a complete content in which discussions, podcasts, summaries, like the Harvard Business Review, which sir referred to you in a physical form. I have this digital subscription. So while I'm driving a car, in digital Harvard Business Review, there is an option that okay, it reads the entire article for you. It discusses the entire podcast with. Now, one important question, because a lot of you guys must be giving the exam for the first time, it's so why are you discussing these extra things? Why not just read the pre-scene? If that has to be done, you can read it yourself also. When you are having this pre-scene discussion with us, it is about understanding the practical examples, understanding the real situation, because examination will be a replica, will be a copy of a real life situation. It won't be something out of the world. It will be some real life issue which examiner will give you. So these real life discussions are most important thing. And that's why we always say that this examination is not for only academics teacher. It is for someone who has that business acumen, that business sense, and that real life input, because that matters a lot. Now,
Now, let me give you a practical example, like my personal example with this magazine thing. And maybe you may find this in your actual big day in the examination requirement. See, I am no more a subscriber of this Harvard Business Review. Why? Why I'm no more, like, no digital, no physical, nothing? Because I have this Apple News. What Apple News charge me? I'm a regular monthly subscriber of Apple News. Apple News charge me like maybe 10, 12, maybe $15 a month. And what I get? Hundreds, thousands, 10,000, millions of articles, millions of magazines. Wall Street Journal, Dallas Morning News, whatever, you just name it, I have everything. So maybe in examination, you come across this challenge, this kind of, competition thing. So that's why sir said, we're giving you practical example, because in the examination, you'll face the same thing. Sir.
just like the movies, just like movies, like we pay subscription to Netflix and Amazon, and there's a lot of movies together. So nowadays there are this Apple News, Google News, which gather all the articles together, and then you get a combo of subscription also. So now, Merck Company, which is our client, is one of the five biggest publishers of magazine in the country of Darling. It was established 60 years ago. Merck publishes magazines on a wide range of leisure subjects, not politics, not business, leisure subjects like lifestyle, cooking, luxury, sports, leisure subjects. Okay, like something about enjoyment and things like that. Not politics, business, and like serious subjects. It talked about leisure subject, it has publication. And it won't be like one publication, there would be a lot of publications which they will have. Like, for example, if someone is into sports, so he want to buy a magazine which is focused on sports. If someone is into like cooking, like, okay, my wife would be interested in a cooking magazine. Maybe the children may be interested in lifestyle magazine. Someone may be interested in household magazine. So there are wide range of magazines which focus on different areas in both print-based and digital formats. Okay. Now, important thing. See, you don't have to learn it like, okay, Mag Company, Darling, one of the. No need to learn. Just read it so that the information gets settled in your mind and try and understand different areas. Okay.
Now see, in the first paragraph, if you just close your eyes, you have this thing in your mind. Okay, this is the company, that's the product. It's not a new company. It says 60 years ago. Okay, so when you enter in an organization, what do you know? Okay, this is the name, this is the industry. They do physical and digital both. They are fifth largest. Okay, the big fishes, and it's an old company. It says 60 years ago, and in that particular nation. That's it. Okay, you're not talking about a small company, maybe a newly business, an emerging industry. No, no, no. It's established industry. These products, old company, when it's about the culture and all that and processes, it's an old company. This is the name, this what they do, physical and digital both. That's it.
Now,
So,
so the sector information, or what we call as the industry background. A magazine is a publication generally produced on a regular schedule containing articles and illustrations, often covering a particular subject or aimed at specific readers. That's very much logical that, okay, magazines are issued after a regular interval because people are waiting for it. Like, okay, just like a newspaper, newspapers come daily, magazines don't come daily. They are either weekly, monthly, or quarterly. But there is certain regular interval. Now, when you talk about magazines, they are not general normally. Nowadays, magazines are specific, like, okay, sports magazine, cooking magazine, lifestyle magazine, so that it attracts that particular group of readers. Okay.
look at this. Southern living, because we Texans, we are at the southern side of United States. So southern living, talking about the baking and food and lifestyle of Texas, not the New York or the Midwest side or the California side. They're talking about a specific, not only for the whole United States, it's for the southern living, more towards near the Mexican side. So
Now,
see, specific magazine, specific read.
magazines are published on a range of different subjects. Magazine publishers may have other media interests, for example, provision of market research services. Now, that's very interesting. See, when a magazine or when an author is writing an article, obviously, how you can write an article on a particular subject matter when you have a good research on that area. So, these magazine publishing entities are also asked by different entities to do market research because these magazine entities have good knowledge about different areas. Like, okay, if it's a great magazine on sports, so maybe any sports seller, like someone who sells sport equipments, may ask a magazine provider to do certain market research about change in trend or something. The five biggest publishers of magazines in Darland have around half of the market in Darland in terms of revenue. And we are one of those five biggest publishers, if you remember. So this means that we have a good market share. The total market size in Darland is about $8,000 million in revenue terms. Now, when we listen to this word magazine, what students start to think is that, okay, this is something which is getting obsolete. Print-based magazine is getting obsolete, but digital magazines are not getting obsolete. It is evolving, just like teaching has evolved. Like, okay, Maybe 2 decades ago, teaching was like going in a physical classroom and writing on a whiteboard. But now teaching is this electronic interface. Similarly, magazines have transformed into digital media. These magazines have their own applications. Harvard Business Review has its own app, articles, and not just written articles. There are videos, there are podcasts, there are translations, there are summaries. So the industry has evolved. It's now a content creation industry. Magazines are generally published on regular basis. Many magazines are published monthly, but others are published weekly or quarterly. Each version of the magazine is known as an edition. For example, the monthly edition of January 20x6. So he's making you familiar with the terminologies. Like whenever he will be using this word edition, so that means that it's a new issue of that magazine. Maybe this edition is quarterly, maybe that edition is weekly, maybe that edition is monthly. Most magazines are published in both print based and digital. The market for print based magazine is diminishing, although it is likely to remain significant for some time to come. Yes, obviously, that nowadays, today's generation is more towards digital magazines, but yes, there is a generation remaining which is of that physical era. Okay, now
Even,
readers
even you
are
know, even same with the books. Some people still love to read physical books. I have a lot of physical books. Still love to, having that highlighter and all that. Even we have like big, what do you call the big bookshops. Along with that, coffee area and all that. Like very famous. You can go on, you can search it, Barnes and Noble. Very famous here in US. So people go there and then, not only they buy books, they do research on books, they sit, they have a coffee and all that. So still people love to have that physical stuff. And as I said, nowadays the books and the magazines are for decoration purpose also. All over the globe, people buy it and it's very expensive to have that on coffee table and for decoration purpose people do it. So
readers are defined as anyone who pays to have access to the magazine content, either in print based or digital format. Here I want to highlight one thing. See, there are two type of customers for magazines. There are subscribers. Basically, subscribers are those who have directly done a contract with the magazine publisher. Like, okay, for example, I am a subscriber of Harvard Business Review. I am a subscriber of Arabian Business. I am a subscriber of some more magazines also. Okay. So I am a subscriber. They send me their weekly release, sometimes quarterly release, monthly release. So I am their subscriber. They send me in digital format. I am their digital subscriber. Sir is their print-based subscriber. So they send him print-based things. But there are subscribers who directly purchase it from the publisher. But then there are normal customers who buy these magazines from retail bookshops. Like if you remember, we go to a news hawker, a bookshop or a news hawker who sell these newspaper and all. So they also sell these magazines. So then they purchase the magazines in bulk from the publishers and then they sell them to customers. So yes, that is also possible. So these are two sources of revenue. There are subscribers who are directly connected with the publisher. And then there are customers who buy from the retailers, like from the bookshops and all. Some readers pay a subscription to purchase a set number of editions of the magazine or to access online content for a set period. Readers who pay subscription for the magazine in any form are known as subscribers. As we move forward in this pre-scene, we'll look at the source of revenue and then we'll talk about the retailers and all also. Okay, so we are understanding the industry. It's just the start. As we move forward, business issues will come in, possibilities will come in, arguments will come in. Okay. Now, products. The majority of the magazines published in Darland relate to leisure activities and interest like home, lifestyle, sports, hobby, computer, motoring, transport, music, film, television, programs, celebrity news. Like, okay, these all are the areas of interest. Like magazines on home decor, magazines on lifestyle, like dressing, brands, sports, like, okay, a cricket magazine. Nowadays, that T20 World Cup is going on. So if it's a sport magazine, it will be talking about more about that T20 Cricket World Cup. Then obviously in sports, okay, there are baseball magazines, there are football magazines. So different people have different interest. Then hobbies related, maybe cooking related magazine. People have that hobby. Or maybe hobbies relating to gaming nowadays. There are a lot of gaming magazines. Then computers, yes, people are like crazy for technology. Motoring, cars and bikes. There are great magazines for that. Transport, music, film, television programs, celebrity. So, yes, there can be magazines on different areas. And here you can have a possible situation because nowadays it's a great area of interest of people that they want to know about AI, magazines on artificial intelligence, AI publications. Okay. There are also some business, like Sir use Harvard Business Review, and professional magazines like ACCA's magazine. ACCA has its student article or something named as that magazine. Okay. And then ICAW has their magazine. ACCA has magazines for its members. Those are professional magazines covering news and matters of interest for specific business sectors and occupation. Similarly, not just for accountants, there are magazines of doctors, magazines for construction industry, which talk about the developments in that industry. The content of the magazine varies according to the subject of the magazine, very true. Okay, if it's a cricket magazine, so it will talk about the cricket era. It might typically include latest news, like the key events going on, the subject, articles on the topic of interest, regular opinion by authors, reviews of products connected with the subject of the magazine. Obviously, okay, if it's a football magazine, there will be ads, content relating to that only. So, magazines have transformed from that print based to digital era and how the digital content can differ. So, all of that detail is now coming. The digital content available for magazine varies by publisher and magazine. Sometimes the publishers just reproduce the content in format of print-based version. Now that's a traditional approach. Like, okay, digital magazine, it means a PDF. No, 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 no. That used to happen 10 years ago. Now digital magazine is an interactive magazine. It's an interactive magazine. Like, okay, there is an article. Along with that, there will be translations into different languages. There will be audio podcast. And not only the articles, there will be videos also in the digital magazine. Obviously, in the print-based magazine, you cannot include a video. Okay. If you want, you can just go to your Play Store, App Store, you can search magazines like, right, Harvard Business Review. So you'll get an application of that. So that will have a lot of variety of things. However, some publishers.
Nowadays, these things are interconnected with each other, whether it's physical, digital, social media, and all that. I remember I bought a book very famous. This is actually one of my very favorite writers, Malcolm Gladwell. Okay, I read a lot of books. So 25 years back, I bought like Tipping Point, and then the Blink, and then What the Dog Saw, David and Goliath, How to Talk to the Stranger, The Bomber Mafia, and all by Malcolm Gladwell. When I used to buy those books, there was a physical book. Okay, I still have many times I bought those physical books. Still, I buy physical books. Okay, of Malcolm Gladwell. But when we had this social media thing, what I did, I go on, okay, Malcolm Gladwell on Instagram or Facebook, and then I started following Malcolm Gladwell. Okay, then on YouTube and all that, and then this guy also knew, okay, those who are following me, they've read this Tipping Point and all that. Okay, they are my fan, and then what he does, making podcasts, as Sir said, okay, making podcasts, short videos, maybe the sayings and all that. So these things are actually interlinked. Why, whether you are, buying a physical stuff, you're also following on social media and then online subscription, and in kind of collaboration, is doing the podcast. All these things, okay, so linked with each other after this social media and digital and technology advancement.
Now, what is included in these digital content, some extra content? It can include additional website material relating to the magazine content, maybe some extra pages. Because obviously, in the physical copy, there can be limited pages and limited photos only. Further written content, images, video clips, and all. Email newsletters, podcast, audio or video programs discussing topics of interest to magazine readers, which are available for download or streaming. Then there are some social media content, because they can, when you talk about the digital magazine, it can have a lot of additional support areas. Okay, because it's not just few pages. You can include videos also, you can include additional pages also, because obviously there is no incremental cost per page on digital. Okay, social media, which can include highlighting specific content, promoting next edition of the magazine, raising topic for discussion, sharing among social media. And here I can give you one idea. Most probably there can be a situation about introducing an application of our magazine, because it's not just website, email, podcast, and social media. Now these magazine publishers have their own applications, their own apps. Because when there is an app, what is the benefit? It can send you a push notification. Like a normal social media page cannot send you a push notification, a reminder. But if there is an app installed in my mobile phone, it can send me notifications. Okay.
Just like
Publishers.
this magazine doesn't understand my taste. Okay, whatever I'm reading is just a non-living thing. But when I go and when I am a subscriber of Apple News send me notification. Hey, Donald Trump said this about. Okay, the Fed is doing this. The interest rate, like the Apple News understand my interest. What's this going on between US and Europe? Okay, this is the geopolitical situation going on, sales strategy and all. So Apple, so this when it's about, as I said, app and all that, they send you a push notification and they have this artificial intelligence and they know my taste, just like Netflix and Amazon Prime. Okay, but this non-living thing, it doesn't understand all these things. No matter I'm a subscriber for like a century.
No. So publishers also enter into partnership to ensure maximum distribution of digital content. For example, partnership with digital app stores. So yes, as sir said, this Apple News and Google News, they also promote these paid articles also. Like, okay, on the Apple News or on Google News, there can be links of Harvard Business Review articles also. There can be links of articles which are paid also. So when you click two or three articles, they will allow you to read free, and then they will ask you for a subscription. So these magazine publishers can have agreements with them also. Okay.
So, so see, one more thing. When it's about the physical copy, obviously there's some kind of cost, okay? Like, publication and then this physical thing, and it's not sustainable, and there's so many things. But when it's about the digital thing, let's say Apple, you buy any product of Apple, whether it's AirPods, iPhone, iPad, Mac, the whatever, okay, Apple Watch, whenever you buy anything, what they do, they send you an email and they give you free 3 months complimentary complete access of Apple Music. They give you 3 months complete access of Apple News. They give you 3 months complete access of arcade, their Apple, that gaming stuff and all that. What is this? They're trying to catch you. Okay, do it complimentary for 3 months, and then obviously once you are used to with that Apple Music while doing exercise and walking and jogging and everywhere, now what you're gonna do? Okay, after 3 months you will become their subscriber. Same happened with me with the Apple News. They send me free 3 months. Whenever you buy any product, they will give you a complimentary, but not the physical one. It's all the digital, just digital. So,
Yeah. So now what are the staffing in the industry, like how a typical magazine publisher will have the staffing? Obviously, when I talk about the magazine, the most important role or position here is the author. Without author, you cannot have a content. Okay. Staff may work across a number of different magazines. Now, okay, yes, there can be authors who are freelance authors who write for multiple publications. There are famous authors, like, okay, people follow their writing. So these magazines have competition to attract their articles towards them. Now, magazine authors, writer for magazines are known as authors. It can include employees of the publisher of the magazine, like in-house authors. Okay, like full-time authors, because obviously it's a big publication, so you need to include a lot of content. So there will be full-time writers, and then there will be freelance writers also, which we engage so that we can have a variety in our magazine.
and then there are, some very renowned people, those who are not full-time writers, they just write. For example, you remember in your course outline, you have Michael Porter. We have already taught you. Michael Porter forces, Michael Porter diamond model, Michael Porter competitive strategies, Michael Porter value chain analysis. We have discussed everything in our course, Michael Porter. Michael Porter sometimes writes in Harvard Business Review, one of my favorite writers. Okay. So this way, both their reputation and, some kind of collaboration. So he's not a permanent employee of that, okay, this magazine, but he writes sometimes. So that's even when I was in my teenage or before that, I used to write in magazines. Okay. Sometime at that time there was no, electronic stuff and all that. Used to write a story and then through that, the postal thing. And then when it's approved, it's published with your name and all that. Still, sometime I try, but it's not always, I'm not lucky.
So freelance authors are not employees of the publisher, but have an agreement with the publisher which requires them to produce specific content. They are paid fees only for what they write. Some will be well-known names in relation to the subject, which magazine covers, as Sir referred Michael Porter, or big writers which people obviously follow, and will be paid to give their opinion about the subject. Well-known or expert freelance authors may be paid a higher fees. But it's not just the author. It's not just the author. You need to have other people also. You need to have a designer who designed the magazine. You need to have digital experts. You need to have a team which attract the advertisements. That's very important because one of the biggest source of revenue of these magazines is the ads which are published in them. Then you need editors who will check it, review the things. You need the marketing team of your own magazine which will promote your magazine among the people. So other magazine staff can include editors, check what authors have written for accuracy, spelling, grammar, clarity of the reading. Design staff are responsible for designing and layout of the published material. IT support staff maintain the publisher's IT infrastructure. And obviously, when you talk about these digital magazine, IT staff is very important. Advertising staff, which attracts the advertisement for the magazine. Because, okay, in the magazine, there are a lot of pages and slots where we encourage people to put in their ads. Like, okay, for example, if it's an ACCA members magazine. So a lot of car sellers, luxury cars like Audi, BMW, Mercedes want to advertise their cars to ACCA members because they must be doing their job in big companies. Or maybe if it's a magazine for cricket, so a lot of cricket equipment sellers may want to promote their activity. Or maybe if it's a cooking magazine, then obviously those cooking oil and those spices companies would be willing to promote that. Okay. So are responsible for selling the space in the magazine to advertising businesses. Magazine contain adverts for products and service which advertisers feel will interest the magazine readers. Marketing staff are responsible for marketing the magazine through various channels, like promoting the magazine itself, and the magazine's editor-in-chief is overall charge of the magazine, and all employees and freelancers report to him or her. So there are writers. Their writing is verified by the auditor. He looks at it that, okay, whether it's in accordance with the policy and all. Because, okay, if some wrong thing is written in the magazine, obviously it will impact the reputation of the magazine. Then there is design staff, IT staff, advertising, which attract the adverts in the magazine. There is marketing staff, which promote our magazine. And then the editor-in-chief, who is responsible for the entire magazine overview thing.
So maybe in examination you come across a situation where there is an issue with their reputation, with the reputation of the particular organization, whatever your client, okay, due to this publication. Now in the magazine you have two things. One is the content, which is written by the writers and all, and one is the advertisement. Both are part of the magazine, and it's your brand. So ultimately, if something goes against it, against the policy, or maybe which is not, because where do you see? You see your reader. You look at like what we are doing right now, me and Owais. What we are not doing what we like. We are doing what you like, okay, and what is in the best interest of you guys, okay, how you want to learn, study, read, and the examinations. Same thing happened with the magazine thing, okay. So they have to look at their readers, okay. For example, when you're talking about the marketing policy and all that, obviously it's a source of revenue, but maybe it's against the value. For example, advertisement of the weed, advertisement of any drugs, advertisement of prostitution, advertisement of smoking, maybe some kind of thing. And your marketing person, they brought the advertisement, give up some money, financial side is happy and all that, and you published it. Maybe in the examination you come across and your controls are weak because your controls are weak. So maybe in examination, control thing risk, and ultimately now you are a consultant and hey, this thing has happened and already published, and what to do now? Should we say sorry or should we recall our magazine or what? Okay, so this is about the advertisement. So there should be some kind of policy. Then there about the content. Maybe you talk about some kind of political issue, maybe a sensitive issue affecting any religion, maybe the LGBT issue or something. Maybe you are talking about, you advertise, or you're talking about a product which is sourced by a country and they are doing this child labor thing, or some kind of war is going on, or maybe they are experimenting chemical weapons and all that. But it's not like by your reader. So you have to look at your reader, you have to see your company, your stakeholders, your values and all that. Okay, so maybe in examination, and I'm pretty sure this thing is going to come in examination because it's all about content. It's all about content. So
Okay. Now, so a magazine production process for each edition of the magazine's editor-in-chief specifies the content of the magazine and who will write each item in the magazine. Obviously, even if it's a sports magazine and relating to cricket or football or to baseball, or if it's a cooking magazine, we need to decide that, okay, on what key events we'll be focusing on. What will be the key areas which we'll be covering? Like, okay, obviously we need to look at the trending events. We need to look at the current issues. Like, okay, this time the magazine will be focusing on this thing. Like, okay, for example, if this magazine has to be published in some Islamic country, and okay, if nowadays Ramadan is going on, so that cooking magazine will be focusing on those Ramadan cooking. Or maybe if it's a cricket magazine, it will be focusing on T20 World Cup. So what I'm trying to say is that editor-in-chief will determine that, okay, what will be the main focus area of our magazine? What will be the trending thing which we will be covering? Who will be the writers which we will be targeting? And they will be developing the content. Authors will write the material for the magazine solely at their desk, or they may have to go out to obtain material for articles. That is very important. See, it's not like that author will sit on his table and he'll just write it. No, he has to do research also. Like, okay, for example, if we are a film magazine, so that author has to first go and watch that new movie on which he's writing an article. He hasn't watched the movie and he's writing the article. You are writing a review on a cricket match and you yourself didn't went to watch the match. So sometimes they have to go and attend that event to write an article on it.
So sometimes even on my social media, when I plan to, give a review on a particular movie, when I see the advertisement, the trailer and everything, and I say, okay, this time I'm gonna give the review of that particular. Normally I'll give. So what I do, I book the first show. So because first I have to experience and then I can explain it.
Okay. Now, so for example, authors on magazines about films would attend film screenings. Magazines have a guide which author must follow when writing content, as sir highlighted, a very important area of matter. Like, okay, sometimes the writer writes something which is against our magazine policy, some controversial things that will impact the reputation, something which is impacting like the emotions or sentiments of our readers. So that can harm us. Guidance will include what content is and is not acceptable. It will also include the tone, presentation of the content, for example, use of paragraphs, punctuations, as well as preferred terminology. Authors generally have to produce a content by set date. Very much logical. Because once the author will produce the content, editor will review it, designing will happen, digitalization will happen. So there is a deadline for everything. It's just like an examination that a magazine has to be published by set date, it can't be delayed. For each edition of the magazine, the deadline allows sufficient time for editing, printing, digitizing team by content, by publishing the date of the magazine. Okay, by the publication date, we have to digitalize it, we have to print it, and we have to do a lot of steps. Once the content has been reviewed, has been written, it is reviewed by the editors. Once writing and editing have been completed, the content written by authors is brought together into an edition of the magazine, which also include adverts, letters from the magazine readers, some feedbacks. The magazine's editor-in-chief will review the whole magazine. The magazine will then be printed and or uploaded if published online. Okay, so it's the entire process where authors develop the content, obviously in accordance with the guidelines given by the editor-in-chief. Then authors develop the content, editors review it, designers design the magazine, they put the pictures, advertisement team bring the adverts. A final magazine is produced, which is then reviewed by editor-in-chief, and then it is issued by the deadline. Okay, now obviously these magazine guys now need softwares also. Softwares for what? Softwares for digitalization. If I want to publish the magazine on the digital media, you know that nowadays there are so many digital platforms like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Quora, or and these other platforms like Snapchat. So many sources we have to publish the magazine. So then there are softwares which are used to publish them at multiple sources, dealing with the public opinion at multiple sources. So many publishers pay fees to suppliers for software which assist in publishing the content. Now, this not only converts the magazine from physical form to digital form, but it also helps us to publish in a lot of platforms. Okay. A digital publishing platform is a software used specifically producing for digital content. The capabilities the digital publishing platform has depends on the software being used, as well as assisting with design and layout. It may be used to add multimedia elements and publish content on multiple channels, as I said. Like, okay, we made a magazine. Now we have to email it. We have to put it on YouTube if it has some video content. We have to put it on Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn, TikTok. Like nowadays, as I said, these digital magazines will have short videos, also short reels, also short extracts, also because now you have to promote it through a lot of sources. Then if you have an application, you have to publish there also. So doing each step separately would be very big trouble. So there are softwares for these purposes, including social media and mobile apps. A digital publishing platform may also allow inclusion of advertisement as part of digital content. Like, okay, if we have included a podcast in our digital magazine, so in between of that, ads need to be included. Other facilities, digital publishing platform may include data analytics that will analyze the user behavior. That okay, Subhan like to read these articles, Owais read these articles. So different articles, areas of interest, which writer is read more. Search engine optimization, like on searches, our articles come up. Integration with e-marketing. Some digital platforms may also provide paywalls. What are paywalls? Okay, there is an article, there is a content. 30 or 40% will be free to read. And then if you click on continue reading, they say, okay, pay a subscription. Mean that some content is available on payment of an additional fees. So that all can be done through these digital magazine thing. So if we sum up, we just started the reading of this pre-scene. See, it's not just read that you can do yourself also. For that, you don't need to enroll with us. When you are enrolling with us, it's about going in depth, developing, picking up the points. Like in today's class, we highlighted 3 issues which can come in the examination. Maybe a magazine on this AI trending things, maybe that thing. Maybe a proposal that if our client don't have an application, so they develop an application for our magazine. And then one more thing, sir highlighted, that maybe some wrong publication or unethical thing has published, something contradicting with our policy, hitting the sentiments of our reader. So understanding the scenario. Okay, so we started the discussion of the pre-scene in our today's class, some basic discussion about the industry, and now we are going in detail of the industry, that how the industry operates, the physical magazines, the digital magazines, how things go on, the staffing, the process, and the softwares. Okay, now today was just the first class. Now there will be 2 more classes on this pre-scene, and then there will be 2 detailed mock exam discussions, around 6 classes on mock, 3 classes on pre-scene. So those 9 classes are specifically on the pre-scene area. Third mock will be your self-attempt mock. Then we have classes on exam style, drafting approach, professional skill marks, that complete combo. Obviously, this first class is free for everyone. We'll be putting on social media also and on our learning management system also. But if you want to get benefit of this complete package, and if you are not yet enrolled with us, then I will say, what are you waiting for? Don't you want to pass the exam in this attempt? So if you want to increase your chances to pass the exam, this pre-scene analysis, the predictive mocks, they are really important to increase your chances to pass the exam. So in the next class, we'll move forward and we'll start our discussion from different sources of income these magazine publishers have. Okay, so hope to see you all in the next class. And if you have any query, you can always connect with us directly on our WhatsApp numbers. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.